Welcome to the Loveland Report, the Lone Ranger Show. I am Cleve Loveland, Central Florida's best real estate planner, alongside Bruce Woodburn, the Lone Ranger, and we are going to talk about what's in the real estate news. You don't have to watch any of those talking heads on TV or any home improvement shows. It's all glam. It's all made up. It's all drama.
Well, you don't want to go to a free seminar to learn how to flip houses where they're going to get you into a club, and then you have to join the club.
We're going to talk about real estate planning, how to leave homes to your heirs. What's the best way to do that? We're going to talk about rents rising, and we're going to talk about this is the bottom of the market. We're kind of teetering on the edge of a buyer's market, but I don't think we're going to get there because things are getting better. Thank goodness for the Trumpster. The Sleepy Joe hangover is fading. And but yeah, Bruce, I heard one of those advertisements on the radio.
They're back.
One of those seminars. And
learn how to flip houses without using any of your money.
Yep. And then they're going to loan you the money at 14%.
Yep.
And they probably got a coaching program for $2 or $3 grand a month.
Yeah.
And they're going to make you go do all the work. I get these phone calls every week, Bruce.
You can actually make money doing it, but it is a job.
It's a job.
Yeah.
You're better off going to our class we're doing on buy and hold real estate.
You can't get any easier way to make money than following the Leapfrog process
that we are doing.
If you're not savvy and you don't have 40 hours a week or even 30 hours a week to put in to your flipping, then do it the easier way like we did, because we already took the hard part out of it because we already made the mistakes. We will teach you what type of properties to purchase, how much to put down, the right type of loans for you, how to maximize your leverage and buy multiple properties and not put 20%, 25% down like most investors, and accumulate wealth slowly. So we create a program that within 20 years, you'll own 5 houses, all free and clear, producing you 25 grand in rent.
It's so hard. It's funny because I like watching the flipping shows, but
sure.
I turn the volume down and I fast forward to the end. I DVR them, fast forward to the end and watch what the transformation. I like seeing the design ideas and what they look like, but all the drama in between, it's probably that's the stuff that happens. But you don't see the cost overruns. The numbers aren't real.
And their numbers aren't realistic either, because I look at that and they go, oh yeah, we redid that kitchen for $11,000. No, you didn't. I paid more than $11,000 for my cabinetry.
If they're making so much money and they're so rich and they've got yachts and they fly on jets, why are they using Uncle Fred's money and they have holding costs every month of $5,000 on
interesting?
Yeah. So anyway, but I think one of the things I talk to people about, Bruce, I go meet a lot of people 6 months or a year before they're actually going to sell or talk to them, or they think they might need to list their house now. And I'm like, no, hang on. Let's rent this, or let's wait 6 months. You want to move to Tennessee. I help people with that all the time. That part of my job, the real estate planning that I help you with, I think everybody needs to have a plan like that. And what I'm seeing lately, and I saw an article here in Personal Finance out of Fox News talking about leaving a house to your heirs.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to see a fight, leave 2 houses to 3 kids.
Without having a plan.
Yes. And so that's what a will and trust is for. And, have the homes liquidated, sell them. Because there's always the kid that thinks the house is worth $1 million, especially when there's 5 siblings.
Sure.
And the house is really worth 500. And they're arguing with you about reducing the price because you can't get it sold.
And one wants to sell it. One wants to keep it and buy out the other 2.
But they have no money.
They get in a fight.
Yep.
So, and I'll tell you something, a will and trust is absolutely vital. If you don't have a will and trust, call Cleve or call myself. We will help connect you with somebody to create that will and trust. But there's one thing that's better than a will and trust when it comes to leaving real estate, and that is a ladybird deed.
You can do that.
So the ladybird
if it's
deed,
one kid, you're going to leave one house. Yeah.
Well, but even if it deeded into all of them, they don't have to go through probate then. It avoids probate, because just because you have a will and trust doesn't mean you're going to avoid probate. So we can help you with that. I do believe that anybody that owns real estate and has children should have a will and a trust. I'm actually in the process of redoing mine right now. If you have questions for Cleve, he can be reached now at 407-352-8118, or Bruce Woodburn, the Lone Ranger at Cross Country Mortgage, 35 years lending right here in your backyard. #1 lender in the country right here. 1 in 7 mortgages. Cross Country Mortgage originated in the United States. You can reach me at 407-250-9144, or go to WeBringYouHome.com. Make your application there and register for Cleve and I's class on what is it?
June
June
18th.
18th. So that's coming right up. And
6:30.
this is a small room, folks. We're not trying to fill out an auditorium here
Yeah.
so you can buy our system. We're not going to even sell you a system. We don't even have anything for you to
We
buy.
give
We're
you
going to give
give
you
you knowledge.
all of the information so you can set up your life, so you can create retirement wealth and generational wealth. June 18th, register at We Bring You Home right away. I think we can only hold like 15, 20 people in that room. It's
Yeah.
small. So Winter Park at the Ale House on Lee Road. Register now. So I want to talk a little bit about interest rates, because interest rates this week,
That I've ever seen. So if it's, let's say the house is, the mom and dad get the reverse mortgage in their 80s and they pass away at 90, and the house they bought was 250.
Yep.
And now it's worth 325. That mortgage is probably about 275 to 285.
Yep.
And so there's equity left. The only time I've seen somebody actually be upside down on a reverse was I had some people pull reverse mortgages in 2006 and 7,
Right.
and then needed to sell 4 or 5 years later. And that was a problem. But even if the balance is higher than what the property sells for, the bank cannot come after you for the difference,
No,
right?
they aren't. They cannot.
Yeah.
They cannot. So a reverse mortgage may or may not be right for you. We will determine that. We have experts to determine that. And we do not spend money advertising. You know that Cross Country doesn't advertise anywhere. We don't. So when you look at somebody like Rocket or Tom Selleck, whatever he's advertising, They're spending millions of dollars, Cleve, on advertising. We don't do that. So we can pass those savings on to our consumer. That's what we do here.
No, it's well, not everybody needs that, but I think when people get with you, realtors know this for your clients. Bruce will let you know what the loan needs to look like. What's the down payment? You just work with a couple of my first time buyers, helping them with a buy down. They're really, really payment shy.
Yep.
It's kind of funny. I mean, everybody is on their first home, and I think that they want to do the buy down. And we got the seller to cover all the costs. We got the seller to cover.
So I
max
think
costs.
this is a really good one because this is one that's happening right now. So, and it's interesting because, well, and I want to kind of tell this story. So it's a young couple, okay, first home, starter home, 300, low 300s, right?
Yep.
Seller wanted what, 320 for it, and buyer needed a lot of closing costs, more than normal. Okay. More than normal. So, and Cleve calls me up and goes, "You're never going to get 6% closing costs on that."
Say that.
Well, it kind of in that way. And I said, Cleve,
I thought they didn't need it, but I didn't know about the buy down.
well, that was it. So let me kind of phrase that so that people understand why you said that, because it's unusual. There's no question. It's hard to get 6%. And I said, Cleve, this guy will walk if we can't get him a rate buy down. And you know what? Cleve got with his buyer's agent, negotiated this deal out. We got all 6%.
And here's what's important
and
about
the
that.
guy got a 2-1 buy down, and almost all of his closing costs paid, and his payment got in line. And that got him from like a 6 3/4 rate to a 5 3/4 rate.
And the thing, out of pocket on a 3-something house, 15 grand.
Yeah.
Less than 15 grand is what it's going to be. And part of that's because of the buy down.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
But here's the important part. That house, awesome house, all redone, all renovated.
Acres.
It's been on the market for, I believe it was 5 or 6 months. It's been on the market a long time.
Yeah.
And it was in one of these areas where if you weren't watching the price, and the realtors were not, and this is good for the buyer, the realtors were not aggressive enough checking the market to see what's selling. And so what happened? This house was listed for 350. And I know what happened. Over 60 days, 90 days, 20 other homes popped up on the market at 348.9.
Right.
Or 345.9.
That's right.
And they stole the buyers from this home. Well, the seller finally got the point, or I don't know if they got a different realtor or what they did, but they got it down to a decent price. But it still had been.
He got a deal on this house because his net after closing costs on a 320 house is really about 298.
Exactly. And the thing was, it'd been sitting at this price for 7 weeks at the same price. So obviously they weren't going to get full price. They weren't going to get close to full price.
I want it. We only got a couple minutes left here, but I want to say something to you guys. If you, and I tell people this, Cleve, all the time, and I preach it on my show on Sundays, like, I don't think people understand the importance of having a good real estate agent to negotiate, because I will promise you that the average realtor would not have had the fortitude to negotiate that hard on that deal.
Yep.
And you and your buyer's agent, Camille, who did a great job on that, really worked that deal. And now we got a win for the seller. We got a win for our buyer. Yep. Everybody wins. But what happens is people go out and they choose their own realtor because it's their boss's wife or their brother's wife or whatever, who knows, but they can't freaking negotiate. And they go, well, the seller said the seller won't do that. And if you don't accept this offer, then we're done. And you know what? Cleve looks at that and says, that's what they're saying, but that's not what they mean.
Yeah.
That's just a negotiation technique.
Yep. Yep. Well, it's really hard nowadays, Bruce, because sometimes the listing agents are not the sharpest knives in the drawer. And I hate to say that.
The buyer's agents aren't either.
Exactly. But on this side, that's what you get when you work with me. So if you want to make a real estate plan, you need me to come by your house, take a look at it, get my free 50-point staging checklist, talk about should you buy another rental house? Should you buy another primary home? Call me at 407-352-8118. I'll be working this weekend. 407-352-8118.
Yeah, or the Lone Ranger, Bruce Woodburn, Cross Country Mortgage, 407-250-9144. That's 407-250-9144. Or go to WeBringYouHome.com, get your application made, and register for our class on June 18th. Cleve and I'll be back in 5 minutes. Do not turn the station. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.